Hey, welcome back everyone. So in my last video, I talked about picking daisies on Sundays, and it inspired me to create a set inspired by the book, and that is what I am working on right now. Tell you the truth, I actually had completed an entire set before this, and I ended up scrapping it. They were popsicle nails. They did not look great. They just weren't quite up to snuff. So I sent them to the trash bin, or well, the junk pile. Actually, I kind of created like a a little jar that's full of like either practice nails or nails that just ended up looking terrible. And you know what? What is her name? Like C's Tutorials or something like that on YouTube. I love her videos, and I love the series that she did with her jar nails, where she just kind of randomly pulls 5 nails out of a jar, and she creates like a whole new set with them. I love that. It really kind of inspired me to start collecting all my nails like that, because yeah, sometimes I run into artist block, I guess you could say. And so when that happens in the future, I think I'm going to do that kind of, uh, do what she did and, kind of help with that. Because I will say, when it came to this set, I was suffering from artist block. I really just didn't know what to do, especially after my pull float nails. I was kind of at a loss, because honestly, I'm kind of ready for fall nails, but it's still too early for that. When I created this set at the time, it was July. So just the beginning of July. And so it was too soon for fall nails, but other than fall nails, I just didn't really know what to do. And I really liked the book, Picking Daisies on Sundays, and I started searching for it on Pinterest. Just typed it in, the title of the book, and to see what would come up. And, mood boards and collages and stuff like that came up a lot. And then also just pictures of the book. But the mood boards and collages start kind of getting the creative juices flowing. And I kind of took from some of those, and just also like some of the favorite elements from the book that I really liked, and just decided to kind of include those in. And I ended up having a lot of fun with it. I'm glad I went with this idea. Okay, so now I know that in the pink lemon nails that I made for my friend, I had said that flowers really scare me, and I don't really do them very often because I'm just not that great at them, and I'm still not, to tell you the truth. But I kind of, since the book is called Picking Daisies on Sundays, and Daisy, he calls her Daisy in the book, and daisies are also overall a pretty important theme to the story as well. Kind of couldn't really get by with creating a set that is inspired by the book and not have daisies on the nails. So with all that in mind, I went to Pinterest and looked at tutorials for floral nail art, and I came across this one on Pinterest, and it's Daisies, and it helped so much. So thank you. Uh, I'm assuming this might be the original artist. I am not entirely sure, but thank you so much to the nail artist that posted this tutorial. It really, really did help tremendously. And I loved the look of the nail that she created so much. So I thought, you know what? That's good enough for me. It's good enough for this set. I'm going to go with it for the thumbnails. I did kind of end up doing my own little thing a little bit with the other nails that have daisies on them. But for this, I love this look so much. And the artist made it look so easy. And though I didn't have the specific brush that they had shown, I just kind of had to work with what I had, work with what I had on hand, and it turned out fine. I think. Overall they look like daisies. They're not bad. I don't think they look as good as hers, but these for me, they're not bad. Okay, so at this point, you might notice in the background a little bit that there are a few nails that have been worked on, and you haven't seen it in the video yet. And the reason for this is because while working on the nails, the workflow made sense to me. But then when it came to editing, it just was kind of all over the place. So I decided to edit it to where I'm working on one nail at a time, showing one nail at a time in the video. So that's why it looks a little bit weird. If you even noticed, maybe it was just me pointing out. Maybe you didn't notice until I pointed it out. But yeah. So on this nail, I'm actually painting one of the quotes from the book. And it's probably one of my favorite quotes from the book. And if you haven't read the book, it might be sort of a spoiler alert, but I mean, it's a rom-com. So of course, there's romance and, she likes him, he likes her, kind of thing. So I don't think that's really that much of a spoiler, but here is the quote. And I know that it's probably impossible to read this, and I kind of wasn't really going for legible handwriting. I just wanted it to look like writing on a nail, though. And I really ended up, I kind of loved how this turned out. Now, I will say I did kind of question the color choice because the black against the milky white just seemed like too much of a contrast. And I asked my husband what his opinion was, and he said, no, I mean, it looks like, ink on paper, basically. And yes, he's right. I do kind of wish that maybe I had gone with maybe just a slightly lighter color, like maybe a gray, for the writing. But overall, I mean, but he's not wrong. He's definitely not wrong. It does look like ink on paper, like it was obviously, because, it does look like handwriting on paper. And that is ultimately what I was kind of going for. So yeah, I guess it does make sense. He's not wrong. Another reason why I kind of wish that I'd gone with maybe a gray for the writing is because I feel like the daisies that I'm painting on this nail on top of the writing doesn't quite pop off enough. And though you can really see them in person, it's harder to see them on camera. And that's just maybe another, for future, if I do this type of nail again, I think I will go with a different color other than black, just because of this, for this very reason. The daisies just don't really seem to pop off enough for me. Tell me what you think. Okay, so for this nail, I knew I wanted for the pinky nails to just have a single flower with a cute little dainty ribbon tied in a bow around the stem. And I wanted to make that bow chrome mostly because I just got in a polish from Amazon that was supposed to be really, really good for isolated chrome, and I just wanted to test it out. That is like really the only reason why I did it. And turns out this polish absolutely rocks. It works perfectly for isolated chrome. I'm so glad I finally found a good polish that does. And then I got to thinking, well, I don't want just one nail to have chrome because that would kind of like be a little odd. And so I decided to put in just, a little bit of chrome in all the nails, even if it's just, a tiny little element, like with the thumbnail, it was just the big daisy that has the chrome middle, so they're not, and also on the handwritten poem has the daisies, their little middle parts, whatever those are called, where the pollen is chromed as well. So even though like some nails are heavier chromed like this one, some of the nails just have little elements that are chromed just to tie everything in. Okay, Okay, so for this nail that I'm working on, I wanted to do something that kind of looked like wallpaper. And the reason why is because in the book, he talks about the wallpaper that was in her bedroom, about it having like these little flowers and stuff on it. And also in one of the collages that I really, really liked on Pinterest that I saw for the book, it also kind of featured like that kind of look, that wallpaper look in the art for the book. So that's what kind of inspired me to do this. I wanted to have that kind of look to it, that wallpaper, dainty flower look. Very girly. This whole set is probably the girliest set I think I've ever done. Ever. I mean, I am a girly girl for sure. But I guess I don't really consider most of the nails that I create to be particularly girly, even though I am a girly girl. I love girly things. I love pink. Pink's like my favorite color. And pink nails. I used to, before I ever did nail art, I used to just wear pink polish on my nails. It was always pink or nudes most of the time, or red, but most of the time it was pink. I also wanted to add real quick that when I am wiping off the excess chrome after applying it, I'm just using a cheap makeup sponge from, I think I picked up a pack of like cheap makeup sponges from Dollar Tree. Really, the eyeshadow applicator does remove like the majority of the chrome, the excess chrome, but I just go over it with the makeup sponge to just try to get all the rest of it up before top coating, because once you top coat that, any little chrome residue that's left is going to stay on a nail, obviously. Alrighty, for the last nail, the middle nail, actually, it is actually, I took elements from the book. She is going to fashion school or getting her degree in fashion. And so I wanted to do measuring tape, seamstress measuring tape. And that was my only idea at the time, actually, when I had sketched out in my sketchbook of what I wanted the nails to end up looking like. I only had just this ribbon, the not the what are the retractable ones, but like those old fashioned like fold out seamstress measuring tapes. Um, that's all I had in mind, and I wanted it to be pink, of course, to tie in with the nails. But um, it and I asked my husband, I was like, when I showed him my sketchbook and everything, I consult him for a lot of things. He's an artist too. So he probably gets annoyed with me, but I do. I go to him every time I have like a question. I also consult my 12-year-old who is also a bit of an artist himself. And I know he definitely gets annoyed with me with second guessing myself on all of this, but and asking his opinion, because really, 12-year-old boys do not care at all about nails. At least mine doesn't. But, he's just like, he'll give me like quick one worded answers just so he can like get back to his video games or whatever. But anyways, they both indulge me quite a bit regardless. But anyways, he had suggested a needle and thread, and I was like, oh gosh, yeah, because he already knew that I was doing the chrome on the other nails, and I told him that on this one, the metal part for the at the end of seamstress tape, it's usually always metal, right? And typically silver. In this case, it's like a bronze gold, but whatever. um, but I told him that I would be chroming that, and he's like, "Well, you can chrome the needle too on the needle and thread." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes, that's brilliant! I'm so glad that he suggested that." And I was like, "Yeah, and I could have like thread going through the needle, and have the thread kind of go in the shape of a heart." And he's like, "Oh yeah," and so I love that he suggested that so much, because I think this might ended up being probably my favorite nail from this set, because it's very specific to the book. It's very specific to the main character, and also like one of my favorite scenes from the book. He asked her to tailor his suit for his sister's wedding, and his sister's wedding is part of the reason why they begin their fake dating relationship. And so it is a very important element to the book. Okay, and here they are on my fingers. Y'all, I will say I was still a little unsure about the index finger, but once it was on my finger, the nail was on my finger, it just turned out so cute. I really do love this set, and I hope it inspires you guys to go out and read the book if you haven't. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe.